Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to another Video Wednesday with me, Therese. As you can tell by the title of this video, it is going to be a heavy one today. Why am I someone that can talk about suicide and to suicide? It is because I have had a suicide attempt in the past, because I have known many people that have had suicide attempts um, because because I care. So the only reason I'm doing this is because I think it's really important, and I think it's really, 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 really important to make sure that almost like that if you can affect someone, then you should. So today, excuse me, we're gonna go through myths about suicide. We're going to go through what you should do when you are thinking about killing yourself. And then we're going to go through 13 reasons why you should live. And then advice from my therapist. So we have 4 different things that are happening here. So first, myths about suicide. So first myth, if you are talking about suicide, then you are not serious. That is not true. If you are talking about suicide, then you are incredibly serious. Always take it seriously. If anyone says anything like, I don't want to be here, I just want to die, or I don't want to do that, like, you don't start saying stuff like that until you're really in that position. And so listen when people say stuff like, ugh, I just want to die today, or like, I don't want to be here anymore, like, this is the worst. Like, when you start hearing things like that, pay attention. Second myth, if you are serious, or if they are serious about committing suicide, you can't stop them. That's not true. Obviously, everyone has their own choices to make, and everyone has a lot of things that are going on in their head. But if you see that someone is serious and you don't do something to help, it may not stop them, maybe. But if you pay attention, you can, right? You can. You have to be, myth number 3, you have to be mentally ill to think about suicide. That is not true. Apparently 1 in 5 people have thought about committing suicide, and a lot of people that don't have mental illness commit suicide as well, because they just, you flip into that mode, and it's hard to get out of it. Myth number 4, people who are suicidal want to die. That is not true. When you are suicidal, it's not that you want to die and not be here anymore. It's that you don't want the life that you're living to continue. And that is a very different thing. 2 very different things that matter in the difference. But when your brain is in such a low place, you forget that those are 2 very different things. Wanting to die and wanting this life to end. Very different things, right? People who are suicidal don't want to die. They just want to get out of this. They just want to get out of the feeling. They just want to get out of the burden. Myth number 5, people talking about suicide is bad and it could lead to more. That's not true. Me talking about this is hopefully not going to trigger anyone, right? That's not the intention. The intention is that when you talk about suicide, right, you probably look at me and don't think that I ever could have experienced something like that, or that I ever did have an attempted suicide, or that I ever did want to not be here anymore. But coming from someone like me who is so far past it now, I want to tell you that you will get out of this, and that it does get better, and that things do change, and that you don't know what you're missing when you stop, So just know that there are more options, there are more answers, and there have been people that said that when someone heard them saying something negative or suicidal or about death, and then someone helped and said, whoa, wait, what's going on there? People have said that helps, right? So the evidence is that if you ask someone, hey, you okay? Hey, what's going on recently? Hey, you seem really, really sad. What's going on? Then you can be there and you can protect them from the fact that they're not doing a very good job of observing their thoughts, right? They are becoming their thoughts, as opposed to looking at them and saying, why am I so sad? What's going on? Am I angry? Am I depressed? Am I anxious? Like, what is that? And when you ask, you help open up these things for them, where they get to figure out that it's not that they want to die, it's that they don't want to be stuck anymore, right? Myth number 6. Most suicides happen in the winter. No, apparently it's much more complex than that, and most happen in the spring. Okay, so seasonal depression does affect people, obviously, but it's not like the end all, right? It's not like just because it's winter, just because it's dark means you're going to commit suicide. Most happen in the spring, and apparently there's a peak in risk on New Year's Day. So check in on your friends. Check in on your friends and make sure they're okay. Okay, especially after this year. Myth number 7, and our last one. People who say that they are suicidal are attention seeking. Don't take it seriously. Always take it seriously. Always. If someone wants attention for saying that they're suicidal, maybe you should give them attention. Maybe you should tell them, hey, I see you. I care. I am here. That matters, okay? It is a call for help, and helping support them can save their life. Save their life. I'm going to link that article, and I will send that underneath in my comments. So we're going to link that article. We're going to link another article called 13 Reasons Why and Why Not. And that one goes into specific in-depth arguments where someone says why. It says why, and then it says I want to die, and then it goes into all the reasons on why, and then it says why not, and then it says okay, because this will change, because this will happen. And so I didn't want to go into every single specific thing because they're all very different, but I am going to link that for you if you want to look into that as well. The second thing I'm going to go into today is what to do when you are thinking about committing suicide. What to do when you are thinking about killing yourself. You need to call a suicide hotline. You need to call 911. You need to check yourself into an emergency room. Get help immediately. You need to tell someone. You need to reach out, because when you reach out, it helps you process what's actually going on, and someone else being able to say like, whew, we're not as stuck as we thought we were, right? Write it down. Manage your thoughts, manage a safety plan, figure out what you're going to do when you start having those thoughts again. Who are you going to call? What's going to happen? Where do you go? How do you not be alone? Okay? Reasons to live. You need to look for reasons to live. You need to look for warning signs. You need to look for things to do on your own, and then people whom you can connect with, okay? Avoid being alone. No drugs or alcohol when you're in that state, because we all know that that doesn't help anything when you're in that state. And then think of reasons to live. Think of reasons to live. There are so many reasons to live, but when you are in that mindset, it's so impossibly hard to think about it, because what you're experiencing is this huge loss. I don't even know how to explain it to someone who's never experienced it, but it's just the feeling that your soul isn't with you anymore. Like, it literally starts to leave your body. It literally starts to just disappear into the nothingness of the world, and you start feeling like you can't get out of it, and you start feeling like everything is heavy, and you feel like no one is around. No matter what people say to you, no one's here to care. No one is here to notice. No one is here to love you. So you have to remind yourself that is not true. It is not true. And regardless, right? If there are assholes in your life that don't think that you deserve to live, and they are not treating you like you deserve to be treated, and they are making you feel like you don't want to be here anymore, get the fuck away from them. Not acceptable anymore. It's not acceptable to stay in these situations where people are treating us like shit. And I know that life sucks, and that it's really hard to get away from your parents if they're the ones that are doing this, or a best friend maybe if they're the one that's doing this, or a boyfriend if you love them so much and you don't want to get rid of them. But I have to tell you, you must get out of this. You must win your soul back, and you must not kill yourself. We are all here for you. We are all connected, and the world needs every single one of us. So don't you dare. Don't you dare. Warning signs of suicide are what we talked about in the myths, basically, but it's someone threatening to hurt or kill themselves, talking about wanting to die, especially if this person has a weapon or an item to hurt themselves. If someone has pills or a knife or a gun, you make damn sure that they don't have that anymore. 2, searching for ways to kill themselves, but seeking access to lethal means, whether online, physically, or in the moment of despair. If someone is looking for ways to kill themselves, right, and it's going to be hard to tell if someone is, but if you start seeing that someone's giving their stuff away, that someone's, like, not talking to you as often, that they're not sending you as many funny jokes, like, pay attention. Pay attention. Number 3, Someone talking, writing, or posting on social media about death and suicide when this is out of the ordinary for the person. When you start hearing people talk about things like this, you need to pay attention, right? Because it is not normal to be discussing things like that, right? It's not normal to be in a sad state. It's not normal to say, I just want to die. It's not normal to say, I don't want to live, right? That means something is wrong and we need help. We need to help them because they need to know that it's not normal to feel that way and that they don't have to feel that way. You do not have to feel stuck. Do not. My third article that I want to go into is 13 Reasons Why to Live. And these are not happy-go-lucky, but they are positive, So number 1, life is an invitation to learn. We can learn something from every single moment. So what did I learn from my suicide attempt? I learned that the people that I thought weren't next to me were. I learned that the people that I thought wouldn't give a fuck did. I learned that every single day is a different story and that you can change it in a second. You can change everything just by deciding to. And it sounds stupid, but it's not. Number 2, life is not static. It's always moving, just like bad shows no mercy. The good in life refreshes you. So everything is moving. Always, always, always. You always have to remember that this is not permanent, that you are not always here, that you are not always going to be here. Depression tricks you into thinking that you have always been here and that you always will be. That is not true. You are not supposed to be here. Right? You are supposed to be happy. You are supposed to have joy. If you are not having joy, something needs to change for you, because you matter. Number 3, life is a gift. Some people lose their life too soon. Use it wisely and be grateful. It's incredibly hard to think that life is a gift when you're not receiving the gifts that life has to offer. So you have to remember what it is that you're living for, even if it's just a shower, even if it's just the wind, even if it's just a bird flying by. You have to start looking for the joy in almost everything. Everything matters now, everything. You must find something that loves you, something that forgives you, a higher power. It does not have to be God. It just has to be something that is above you, that is going to forgive you and is going to love you and is going to be there with you because you are not alone. You are not alone. Number 4, our lives are not our own. We belong to others and affect them daily, whether you don't know that or not. You always think that people don't see you, they don't feel you, they don't experience you, and if you were gone, it wouldn't matter. That's not true. Right? I had a girl commit suicide in high school and it affected everyone. Every single person in that school was affected, whether they knew that girl or not, right? What was even worse for me is that I did not know her personally, but I knew a lot of her friends. And so watching them go through the loss of her was incredibly wild. You have to know that people will be affected, that your soul does matter, that you are such a light in this world all the time, right? And you don't know what you're doing that's above and beyond. You don't know what you're doing that's affecting people's day, but your kindness matters. And these are the people we need in the world. The ones that don't want to live in this world anymore are the ones that are experiencing so much empathy that they can't handle the weight of it anymore. So just know that this means that you are so empathetic that you've decided to not even care about yourself anymore. Stop. Care about you. Use that empathy on you. Number 5, each new day is a new experience. If we don't live it, we don't know what we're missing. This year, in the year that it has taken me to get from a suicide attempt all the way to now, posting videos, putting on makeup, trying to make myself feel pretty and beautiful and just love myself no matter how weird and quirky and disgusting I am sometimes, you have to remember that there's so many things that you're going to experience. There's so many people that you're going to meet. And if I had committed suicide, I never would have met some of my best friends, some of the people that changed my life so completely just by being themselves. You don't know that you haven't met those people yet because you can't see them. They're not here. But you know that the universe is sending you things. You must. So please, please, please remember that each day is a new experience, and that each day you get to just be. Life is so long, right? And it feels fucking short sometimes, but it's long as fuck. My cat's trying to get into the room, excuse me. Okay, we're gonna let her in. So yeah, number 6, we are the designers of our life. It is our challenge to find the beauty, even and especially when the opposite occurs. Finding the beauty in the world is possible, and it brings countless rewards, right? Just like this, right? Get an animal, find something that is joy and that brings you happiness and that can be there with you so that you can see that there is joy. If it's just getting a Starbucks in the morning, if it's just waking up and listening to your favorite song, if it's just taking a shower for an extra 5 minutes, if it's washing your face for a little while longer, if it's like drinking a glass of water, if it's taking medication, because as someone who's on medication, I know that sometimes people need orange juice and sometimes people need extra serotonin because we've been trained to not have any. You have to know that it's okay to get help. It is okay to get help. Okay. Number 7, we live through experiences that leave scars. However, there is always someone to give us a hand during those difficult times. The important thing is to accept the help. When I was in my darkest day and I wanted to commit suicide, one of the things that I was dealing with was that I was dealing with monetary problems, and I was dealing with the fact that I felt useless and worthless and I couldn't afford anything and I didn't know what to do, and I felt stuck, so stuck. And I remember my friend Allie, actually, without even knowing it, was texting me that day, and I told her that I needed a job, and I told her that I was so stuck, and she offered me a job and got me working within a day. And so you have to remember that, like, when you reach out and you tell other people, like, other humans are here for you and other humans will help, and you just have to say, hi, I need help. And if they don't help you, go to the next. Different people will help you. They will. There are people in the world that are as good as you, and they will be there for you because that's just how it works. Number 8, make an effort to deal with your problems. And then make an effort to deal with problems can make us aware of how strong we really are. Life's challenges don't exist to upset us. They exist so that we understand ourselves better and get to know who we really are. So after this suicide attempt, what I realized is that I didn't like feeling stuck in jobs. I didn't like not having money monetarily. I didn't like feeling like I didn't have the ability... Hi. She's in heat right now. This is not normal. I need this right now though. So make an effort to deal with your problems. So that sounds maybe harsh, but here's the thing. There's something going on underneath you wanting to commit suicide, right? With me, it was monetary problems, and it was the fact that I was a burden and I felt like I had lost everything. I had just quit a job that ruined my fucking life. And I thought that I was worthless. I thought that I wasn't worth anything and that no one would care, and all of the things that you normally feel when you're in that moment. And I just remember like looking at myself and being like, what is really going on? And really talking to people and asking like what was happening. And what I learned is that I was raised by parents that had a lot of problems and made a lot of mistakes. And because they made a lot of mistakes, it means that I got to learn a lot of superpowers about being empathetic and being kind and being, aware of what's going on around me. And so I would never hurt anybody based on that. And so that's the thing, is like when you're hurt over and over again, you wonder why there's not people that aren't the same way as you. But there are. You have to make an effort to look at what's going on with you so that you can find people that are just like you, because when you find your team, when you find your people, it took me 24 years to find people I liked. You have to find people that love you, find people that think you're worth it, find people that are going to raise you up, not take you down, because you are the combination of the 5 people that surround you. Right? So if you have 4 people that are sad, depressed, not going towards anything, aren't dealing with their problems, what do you think you're going to be able to do? You can't. You can't with that. You have to have help. You have to have people that know how to get out of these things, that will bring you up. And if that means a therapist because you need secrecy and you need to make sure that you're safe, do it. Therapists are there for you. Shop around. Find someone that you like and that you can trust talking to, because it is necessary and important to have people that you trust. Number 9. To live is to discover something about ourselves that we were not aware. This year, in this whole year that I've been dealing with this, and healing myself and going through my traumas, I've realized that I am kind. I've realized that I'm empathetic. I've realized that I'm not too sensitive, that I'm not, worthless, that I'm not weak, that I'm not, like a waste of space. I learned that I can help people, I can affect people, and that I can do this. And that was something insanely wild to learn, because if you had told me that a year ago, I wouldn't have listened. 10. To live is to look at ourselves in the mirror and discover a message of love in our own eyes. Legit. You have to love yourself like that. You have to look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, hey, Ellen, I love you. Thanks for being with me today. Today was kind of hard. It was a lot, but we did it and we handled it. And we got through it, and then after that, it turns into, Ellen, we had such a good day. Look at you responding so well to things that would have triggered you before. You learn your triggers, you learn what makes you sad, you learn what makes you happy, and then you start doing those things for yourself, because we're all just big babies. We're all babies that have just gotten a little bit more complicated. So you just have to figure out, are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you grumpy? You have to figure out what's going on, and then you have to get a hug when you need it. Number 11, to live is to allow ourselves to fall in love with someone, with something, or with life itself. And that's true. We get to fall in love with things, right? We get to fall in love with people. We get to fall in love with ourselves. When you find out how cool you are, I can promise you, you'll love it, right? It doesn't fucking matter what anybody else thinks. Does your soul feel good? Does your soul feel worthy? Does your soul want to be here? Does your soul love you? Yes. You brought your soul here, right? You wanted it to live this life. Now learn those lessons. Learn those lessons and win your soul back. Win it. Number 12. Viewing death as a source of meaning can be comforting for many. But rather than using it as an argument in favor of suicide, it is critical to leverage such a perspective in order to make the most of life while it lasts. You must not think of it. Basically exactly what that said, yeah. It's okay to know that death is a part of life. And it's okay to know that we're all going to die at some point. But it's not okay to think that that's somehow the right answer, or that's somehow the way to go. You have to use it. Yeah, you have to use it to think and leverage a perspective that makes the most of your life while it lasts. Number 13. Death is waiting for each of us anyway. Why call it before your time? Now, I think 13 is a little bit of a throwaway, just because sure, you can tell someone why call it before your time, but when you're in that mode, you don't understand that it's not your time. You think this is it. This is where I need to be. This is how it's supposed to go because that's where I've gotten. And no, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept that fate for yourself. You can accept that you are incredibly depressed. You can accept that you've been treated unfairly. You can accept that the world isn't fucking fair. The world is not fair, right? Life is hard. And the thing is, you have to remember that life is always going to be hard. You just have to choose your hard. You have to choose if you're going to be disciplined and you're going to choose to be happy, the discipline of choosing to be happy, the discipline of feeding yourself well, the discipline of getting enough sleep, the discipline of getting hugs when you need them, over the discipline of pain, which is Just ignore. Don't do anything, right? The pain of life when you don't finish your dreams. The pain of life when you don't do what you think you're supposed to do. The pain of life when you get stuck in that mode. So remember that it is always going to be hard. It is never, ever going to be easy, right? But you can make it easier, and you can choose what kind of hard you want your life to be. Choose your hard. Figure out which one you want. So after telling all of these things to you, the last thing that I'm going to do is I spoke to my therapist about this, and I wanted to make sure that I was clear and concise and that I was useful, because if someone does watch this video and gets any sort of help at all from me, whether it be to help a friend or to help themselves, then I wanted to make sure that I was getting a professional's opinion to make sure that I'm being safe with this information. So she said to make sure that you have to validate how those people are feeling right now, right? Because once again, when you're stuck in that mode, you see nothing else. So you have to say, yes, I see why you're feeling this way. I see how hard all of this was. I see how you've gotten here. I see why you don't want to live. And that's not a good option. Okay? And that's not a good option. Find another one. Find someone to talk to. Find somewhere to go. Find someone to be that is not this. You can do it. You can do this. Okay? It is hard. It isn't. I don't even know how I got out of it sometimes. It was going to the doctor. It was getting my brother involved. It was getting medication. It was starting therapy. It was having people check in on me daily. Like, you have to make sure that you have a plan and that you have people that love you. Nothing stays the same. That is another thing she said to make clear. Nothing stays the same. When you get stuck in these modes, you feel like you are stuck there forever. That is not true. That is not true. You must know that things changed, right? Because the happiness that you had before is gone, right? So that means that the sadness you're experiencing now will be gone, and some joy will be coming back, and some more sadness, and some more joy, and some more sadness, because that's what life is, this wave of crap that we just fucking swim through the whole time, you know? It's hard, but it's worth it. There's so many beautiful things in this world. Number 3 that she said to do, don't ever take on a friend being suicidal alone. Always, always, always search out for help, right? When my good friend called me and she was suicidal, I didn't know what to do. And my brain immediately said, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep her alive, right? And that's terrifying. It's terrifying when you're stuck in that situation with someone and you're like, it's all on me to keep this person alive. If I fuck up right now, they're gone. Like, no, it is not all on you. Get help. Call the suicide hotline, which is what I did. I got them on the phone with us. I had them communicating together. I made sure that I knew where she was and what she was doing and what she had, right? And we made sure that she was safe by the end of the night, okay? But talking to someone that's a professional, like a suicide helpline, talking to 911 even though I wouldn't recommend that as the first option. I would recommend a medical hotline. I would also recommend a suicide hotline. I would not recommend the police unless you are in dire need of someone to be there immediately, because that will happen as well. So make sure that you don't do this alone. Call the suicide hotline, get them on the line, get them to help you figure out what's next for your friend, because if you can't figure it out, they can, right? And they can figure out if she is safe, if she's going to kill herself, if she is going to be okay for the night, right? And they can help you recommend what's next. Do they need to go to the hospital? Do you need to call the police right now? Do we need to keep talking to them for the rest of the night? Whatever happens, you need to make sure that you're not alone, because it's not all on you either. You are not fully responsible for people's mental health. You're responsible for yours. So make sure that you get help and make sure that you do what you can, but know that this last point that she made is that suicide is not 100% preventable. And I asked her why she said that, because, you know, people always think if you tell these things and everyone knows about mental illness and everyone knows about this stuff, then you could know it and catch it and blah, blah, whatever. But here's the thing. Sometimes people don't speak about suicidal thoughts. Sometimes people don't speak about depression. Sometimes people don't speak about sadness. You may not see any differences in someone's behavior, and then immediately they're gone. And so what that does is it puts guilt on the survivors. So just so you know, if someone around you has committed suicide and you weren't able to help, not on you. We have to remember that they are fully responsible for their souls, right? If you are trying to commit suicide, you are not a burden on anyone else. You are not. Okay? No one is going to think, I can't say that because I don't know who's around you in your life, but if you call a suicide hotline, if you call the police, if you call a medical crisis center, they are not going to think that you are a burden. They are not going to tell you that you are a waste of space. They are going to let you know how amazing you are, and they're going to help you get out of that, and they're going to help you sort through the emotions that you're having, because once again, you don't want to die. You just want this life to be over, okay? You've got this. Now, the last thing that she said is that people sometimes call suicide selfish. And you have to remember that, yes, suicide is selfish, but selfishness is normally a negative word that we use when it's like someone's only thinking about themselves. Now, here in this case, yes, they are only thinking about themselves, but only to the extent that no one cares, only to the extent that they truly believe it won't affect anyone else, only to the extent that they really can't see that it will impact other people if they are gone. So the last thing I'm going to say to you guys, and anyone who is experiencing this, is that you are not alone. And I hope that this helps even one person. It helped me. I needed to make sure that I got this out because I was stuck in a situation where I needed a suicide hotline, and I called, and I need people to know that that is a viable option, that you can call people and that they are there to help you. And if you don't want to talk to a man or you don't want to talk to a woman, you can talk to them and find what you need. Just like therapy, you find something that you need, right? I just want to say that this life is hard. And it gets really, really, really heavy sometimes. And you need to know that when your brain does that to you and you stay stuck in that depressed state and you stay stuck in sadness, it's not normal. You do not have to live with your brain being that way. You do not have to fight yourself every day. I am living proof that medication helps, and that just the little bit of serotonin that I'm getting, and I know very little about medication. I only know that I am taking an anxiety depression medication and that it's helping me. You must find out what works for you. You must. But you also need to know that there is a standard of living that we are all worthy of, and that is to be happy, to wake up and feel nice, to wake up and not feel heavy, to go through the day and not be worried about anything but you and just how your happiness is going. So just know that you don't have to be stuck here. This isn't the life that you have to lead. You always have the choice to get out of these things. Get out, get out, get out. All right. To all the people that have committed suicide and lost someone to suicide, I love you. To all the people that are dealing with suicidal thoughts now, to the people who have friends that are dealing with suicidal thoughts now, I salute you. You can do this. To the people who don't know that they're as angry as they are, to the people who have no idea what to do with mental health, I hope that this helped even a little. Whew. Suicide is incredibly important to me. I think that no one should ever feel like they need to not be here. And that is why I did this. So, you shouldn't kill yourself because we're here. Because we care. Because we love you and we need you. We need you so bad in this world. Okay? Okay. Tyga says hi. All right. We will see you next Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in.